Our life, what went wrong, and how everything slowly fell apart. I'll be honest with you, I'm reading from a script because there's so much in my life, I find it hard to explain from here. So excuse me if I look away occasionally, okay? I've gone back and forth for a long time about making this video. Not because I don't want to talk, but because when you talk about real life, real people, and real loss, you want to get it right. This isn't a rant, it isn't an accusation. It's simply the truth of what happened to us, how a normal life changed course, and how step by step everything started to unravel. Lisa is Portuguese. Long before we met, she made a decision to go to the UK to work, not for adventure, but for opportunity and make a living. Long hours, early starts, the kind of work people don't often talk about. A lot of people don't want to do because it's so difficult. But Lisa kept going. But that kept the whole economy moving. She came to the UK for more money, to be independent, and to build security for her future. That matters because it speaks to me who she really is. Lisa and I lived in the UK for quite a few years. We married in the UK, and that's where our life together was. We moved a few times because Lisa wanted to see how beautiful the country was. And our last move was into Wales. Beautiful countryside. Lisa loved it. And she kept mentioning, I want to show you my country because my country's beautiful too. We kept that in mind. We weren't running away from anything. We weren't chasing some fantasy abroad. We had settled into ordinary life. Lisa owned a house in Portugal before we ever met. It was her property only, something she had secured through her own efforts. At that time, it wasn't central to our daily lives, it was part of her past and her safety net. The reason we returned to Portugal was very simple. Lisa's mother was dying. She received a phone call from her sister saying, You must come back to Portugal, your mother is dying. I could not dispute letting her go back to Portugal, so we went together. I agreed that we should go back. There was no argument, no hesitation. When someone is dying, you don't make analysis, consequences, you do what feels right at the time. It was a decision made out of love and respect for Lisa, not planning or strategy. Watching a parent fade away affects people deeply. Grief doesn't always look like tears. Sometimes it looks like confusion, withdrawal, and anxiety. Lisa was under immense emotional strain with her oncoming illness and the worry about her mother. At the time, everything we saw felt like grief. We had no reason to think it was any more. It was after we returned to Portugal that Lisa began to change. At first, the signs were subtle. Repeated questions, difficulty following conversations, getting confused in unfamiliar surroundings. You tell yourself it's stress, grief, exhaustion because of a mother dying. It wasn't just that, and I never saw it coming. No one wants to immediately think of dementia. No. But slowly it became impossible to ignore that something deeper was happening. This was the onset of dementia, the slow death. Even we didn't yet have a diagnosis or the right support. Nobody could tell us if it was dementia or anything else. They did tests on her head and they wasn't sure. But the telltale signs all about Lisa stuttering, not getting her words out, etc., were starting to come together. Like most families, we turned to professionals, doctors, health services, authorities. We believed asking for help would bring support to Lisa. But once the systems step in, the balance shifts. Lisa stopped being seen as a wife and a daughter and started being treated as a case. And our voices became quieter. As Lisa's condition worsened, decisions were made quickly. I was told care was temporary, that it was an assessment, that everything would be reviewed. Those words mattered to me because they gave me hope. But temporary arrangements often became permanent. Once institutions take control, they don't let go. While attention was focused on Lisa's care, her house, the one she owned long before she met me, was left vulnerable. The house that should have been protected. I tried to protect Lisa's house, believe me. I had broken my hip. That's how I came into hospital. That's how Lisa ended up in care. And when I broke my hip, the authorities came in and took Lisa away. 3 weeks later, I got out of hospital. Not perfect, but I managed on crutches. And at that time, I thought the house was still ours. Until one day, I was resting on the sofa because of my hip. And who walked in the door? The door was unlocked. And Lisa's daughter and her partner came in, very loud, very pushy, and said, "This is our house. You have no right to be here. My mother is in a care home. You have to leave." And I tried to reason with them, but the partner came up. He physically assaulted me, threw me against the kitchen cupboards, and kicked me out. At my age, I was then just gone 70, I was frightened. This guy was over 6 foot tall, and he just threw me about like a rag doll. And they said, "Go and don't come back. You will not have anything from this house." I left with a black bag full of clothes, heartbroken. And my responsibilities were then unclear. And while I was focused on Lisa's well-being, control of the home quietly slipped away. By the time the seriousness was understood, the damage was already done. People assume a care home means dignity and safety. I did. I thought she was safe there. What I witnessed, I didn't feel like that. Personal belongings went missing. Communication was poor because I could not speak Portuguese. They could not speak English. I was trying to translate to them, but they didn't have time. They didn't want to listen to me. Lisa didn't understand why she was there. she would say, "Let's go home, love." And every time she said it, it broke my heart. I felt the weight of knowing that her home, the one she had worked so hard for, had been taken from her. And somehow I had to tell her this. How am I going to tell her that her own children, a daughter, a son, and a partner, had taken her home away? And I also found out they were trying to sell it. And they were renting an upper floor to a tenant who was in there when we left, and they were taking the rent money from the tenant and not passing it on to Lisa. Illegal residence is the word. Every time she said she wanted to go home, I felt the weight of knowing that her home, the one that she'd worked for hard, had been taken from her. My own life slowly disappeared. I wasn't settled. I wasn't secure. I ended up living in my camper van just to stay close enough to Lisa to visit her twice every day. Tried to be her husband in a system that barely recognised me as one. I'm sorry, I'm getting upset. I shouldn't be. I'm trying to make this video for you to recognise and understand. What went wrong wasn't one mistake. It was good intentions without protection, systems without accountability, authorities without transparency. Lisa didn't lose her home because she failed. She lost it because safeguards failed her. I'm telling this story because it matters. Because this can happen to ordinary people. Because silence only protects failure. Lisa worked hard her whole life, but she built something for herself. And I'm still fighting to protect her and to do right by my wife. This is our story. And it's not finished yet, believe me. It will go on. It's going to go on. Thank you for listening to me. And I know I got a little bit emotional. I can't help that, I'm sorry. If you enjoyed this video, please follow my other videos. Most of them are about me in my camper van, my life, how I am involved looking after Lisa, our thoughts for each other, how much we love each other. I made a vow to Lisa that I would never leave her and I would never turn my back on her. And as God is my witness here,